going to sit up here while I'm still talking. Stephen's going to introduce the speaker. We're going to hear the other side of the story from last night, so this should be very entertaining. The real story. The real story. The truth.
I'm Stephen. I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Hi, Stephen.
I've never introduced this woman before in my life, and it's kind of weird. Because I just say, what do you say? She's my wife, so I can't be too honest, because then I get in trouble when we go home. But what I am going to tell you is I met this woman a little over 3 years ago, and when I met her, she was one of those strong women in recovery that wanted nothing to do with my bullshit. And me being me, we always want what we can't have. But what I didn't realize was, as in pursuing this woman, she taught me a lot of things about myself that I never knew. She showed me how to be open and honest and communicate with vulnerability to the opposite sex, and not be focused just on sex. Because that was always something difficult for me. The only reason I would talk to you is because I wanted sex, essentially. But I was in a position to where God granted me the ability to be able to develop a relationship with this woman over a long distance to where sex wasn't in the cards. And it showed me a whole different side. This woman taught me how to celebrate my mother and father after they're already gone. She taught me how to show up and be an uncle in not only my nephew's and niece's life, but her nephew's and niece's life. And for that, that's something that I don't know where I would have learned anywhere else. So really, that's all I'm going to give you. She's going to give you the rest, but I will tell you one thing. The warmer you welcome her, the better she'll share.
I'm Allison. I'm an addict. There was a lot less people when I sat down earlier. And I don't know where y'all came from. And that's why I was like, I did not know what I was speaking for when I was told that I was speaking in this convention. I thought maybe it was a workshop, maybe it was something. I didn't even know what Stephen was speaking for. He was like, hey, we're going away this weekend to speak. And I was like, okay, sure. And then it was that cute little baby's dad sent us a screenshot, or somebody sent us a screenshot of, that baby's just cute anyways. Sent us a screenshot of this little thing, and I about croaked. And then I was like, what's Sunday? Everybody leaves then. And then I forget that there are ride or dies in Narcotics Anonymous. Y'all are the people that didn't leave the dope house when they kicked you out. So y'all do everything you can for your recovery, and for that I'm super grateful. Can I just get a show of hands of who here is on the committee for this thing? Can we give them a round of applause? This is some of the toughest service work that anybody can possibly do. I don't care what your opinion is on convention versus area, because everybody's got an opinion on that. But this is a lot of personalities, a lot of people, and a lot of hard work for a year. So thank you guys for everything that y'all have done, truly. This has probably been one of my favorite conventions I've gone to, even though I had to listen to my own husband share as the main speaker. Which is, yeah. And the truth is, I had so many people come up to me after the main speaker, and they were like, are we going to hear the other side? Are we going to know the truth? And it's like, I don't even know if I'm going to talk about him, truthfully. Because for a long time, that would have sent me over the edge. I'd have been on the phone with my sponsor, upset about the fact that I was yet again associated with another man in recovery, that my identity had been stripped away again in recovery. Because this isn't my first marriage in recovery. I came into the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, and like any good addict, I got booed up real quick. I was not clean. I came into the rooms, and I had been showing up for a little bit, and met a man who had some time. He was clearly and visibly broken, and I was like, yes, I need that. So he sounded really good, looked really sick, so it was perfect. And I did. I got into a relationship with him, and through the course of like me still coming to meetings, not being clean, nobody kicked me out. Nobody told me that you're not welcome here. Everybody loved me, and I like was allowed to keep coming back, because even if I wasn't clean, that was an hour I was safe from myself. Like I have a lot of opinions, much like everybody does in Narcotics Anonymous, but I'll speak from my experience in the fact of like, I don't care if you come to a meeting high. I care if you get other people in the meeting high, but I don't care if this is where you're at when you're high, because you're safe and we love you, and eventually maybe a message will be planted to where you won't come to the next meeting high, because that's what happened to me. And I'm grateful for that. When I was ready and willing and broken and tired of sitting in a meeting living a lie and knew I didn't have to, that was when I was willing to do something different. And everybody in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous supported me in that journey. It was my sponsor that got me into a rehab. It was the home group that I regularly attended that showed up to eat lunch with me before I left to go to rehab and said, you're still welcome to come back here. You can't hold your position anymore, but you're still welcome back. And like I had to fight my own family to go to rehab, because they were like, you just need to stop using and talk to somebody. I'm like, bitch, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So it really was the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous that saved my life. And I'm grateful for that. And it also was that relationship that I was in that helped me stand strong enough, like after I got back, and supported me, that that male relationship I had, that I used to never talk about it, and if I would break it down to such a level, because I still had this resentment from our divorce and all of this stuff, but like truly he also helped save my life. But we talk about not getting into a relationship for a year, and like I so justified that, because I use the literature against it. It's like what it says, nothing about that. It just says like, I'm supposed to get a sponsor and get a network and get all these other relationships, but I can't get some D? Like what? Like really? I didn't make sense. And as like the good using addict I was going to con and manipulate that to make it work for myself. So I got in this relationship. We eventually got married and got divorced in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. And the reason that I bring him up is not to belittle our situation or anything to that effect. It was such a growth period for me as a human being. We did a lot of NA stuff together, man. Did a lot of service work. He showed me what it was like to be an active member in Narcotics Anonymous. And he also showed me what it was like to be able to show up for my family. But the first time that he said that he loved me, I wasn't clean at this point. And I was clinging onto our relationship, pretending to be clean, going to meetings, putting on this great act. And I remember he said, I love you. And then that same weekend, he's like, man, I'm really worried when you work your 4-step, you'll realize you don't need me. And I was like, never, ever gonna happen. I say that to say, like, it was 5 years in recovery before I worked a thorough 4-step with a sponsor. And guess when that coincided? Right around the time I got separated. I I'm not saying that has to be anybody else's story. I'm just putting that out there. Like, if you're in that situation, just give yourself a break and work the fucking stuff. So yeah, that was kind of that part of the relationship. That's why I really, really believe in finding out who you are in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I believe in finding out who you are through the step work. And I believe in like owning who you are as a human, whether that be male or female or whatever you prescribe to. I don't care. Yeah. So that was that little tangent. Sorry about it. I was like, I'm not going to get on any soapboxes when I get up here, but I might. So for me, when I got to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, our area is small. I guess it's similar to this size. We have maybe one more meeting in this area. And I was scared, and I didn't know what I was getting into. You know, I reached out to a person of a different, I don't know why I'm trying to be so PC. So what happened was when I was ready to get clean, I'm like trying to censor myself, but fuck it. So when I was trying to get clean, I wasn't even trying to get clean or find out about Narcotics Anonymous. I was just so tired of living to die. Like, truly, I was using to live, using to die. And I was really tired, and I was really broken, and I just wanted it to stop. Like, that's what brought me into Narcotics Anonymous. The fact that I would go to sleep praying to something bigger than me to please take me in my sleep because I was tired of having to do this job. I was tired of not dying. I was tired of trying to overdose. I was tired of being a shell of a human. I was really tired of being a lump on the couch of my house. I was 21 and fucking useless. That's it. Like, I took enough classes between the time I graduated to when I got clean to just like get my family off my back, because I would leave the house for a little bit. They didn't know I left to like go get high and then would come back and be like, class got out early. You know, and my mother was a part of that because she had moved to Charleston after about a year after I moved down, and so we were very codependent. You know, I was telling my husband last night, I was like, it's kind of crap you went before me, because now it looks like I'm copying some of your story, but like our stories are very similar in the sense that my dad got sick when I was 18 and passed away, and then I just dove into a life that I knew would make me feel better. I coped in the very best way that I knew how to by doing a lot of drugs. By harming myself with doing a lot of drugs to throw up. Like, because for me, like, my disease does not just stop with narcotics. My disease will mess with my mind in whatever fashion it can. So whether it be like, Allison, you're not skinny enough, you need to throw up everything you ate. Allison, you're not worthy enough, you need to just go ahead and end it all. Allison, you're such a piece of shit, just lay down with this one, and this one, and you'll feel better. So that's how my disease likes to placate me. It just says, you're not enough, find a means and a ways to get something else to feel better. So yeah, those were a part of my disease. And, you know, when my dad passed away, those were the coping skills that I had. I was 18. I was out of school because I took care of him. I didn't have a job and had no accountability, and my mom and I were very codependent on each other. And so I used a lot of drugs until I tried to kill myself and got committed into an institution. And you know what's crazy? Like, I give huge props to, where is she? You. Yes. H&I. Thank you for what you do. Truly. I say that because I'm an H&I member, and I take a meeting into one of our psychiatric institutions every single Wednesday. Thank you. But the institution I went to didn't have an H&I. I never heard about Narcotics Anonymous. So when I got out, I literally left and used, because that's what I knew to do. And I continued the pattern of using for a long time. I say a long time because I was living it. It was only a couple years. But that was enough for me to really and truly like pray to God every night, please take me in my sleep, and cry every morning when I woke up because I knew I had to do it again. It was exhausting and it was tiring. And I don't have to go into a war story about all the dope I did, all the things I, conned and manipulated. Like, my story is when I got here, I was tired. I wanted to die, and I earned that seat, along with everybody else here. And I'm grateful for the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous in the sense that, like, nobody, well, actually, that's a lie. One guy told me, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're not an addict, which is just a load of shit. And I think that's why I don't really talk about dope specifics, because while you need to know for, like, relatability, like, you don't need to know because that's how I distance myself. So I'm sorry, I'm so all over the place. When I got here, I was 21, and I, like, didn't really know if I was an addict, or, like, I knew I was an addict, I just didn't know if I wanted this life because I didn't want to stop using. I just really wanted to use manageably because that looked really cool. Until I got clean, and then, like, I still realized, like, I never had a glass of wine ever. Like, I never looked posh. I never looked like the, lifestyles of the rich and famous in Charleston. Like, I was never that person. It never ended with one. It always ended in disaster and me hating myself. So that is kind of out the window. But, sorry, it's like I'm grateful, man. I'm just overwhelmingly grateful right now. And it's like God is just showing all of this stuff to me, and I want to express it in the best way I can. And that's another big thing for me in this journey was, like, a higher power. I'm going to say God because I get tongue-tied, and if you can't tell, I'm a little nervous. So, like, if I try to say the God of my understanding or higher power every other time, like, I'm going to, like, blunder. Yeah. So God is, like, a lot easier. God showed up for me in those situations where they put the right person at the right time from a church, and I don't affiliate those two, to show me that there was meetings. Like, when I was broken and ready, I reached out to my youth minister that I grew up with because he happened to go from my hometown to Wisconsin to Charleston. I don't find that by accident. I vomited like a 4-step on this poor man. I was like, I'm a liar, I'm a cheat, I'm a whore, I'm stealing, I'm this, I'm that, in this coffee shop. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe tone it down a little. There are people that are scared now. And he told me that there were meetings. And I was like, I don't even drink. And he was like, guess what? There's more meetings. So I came into Narcotics Anonymous. And the journey that I've had in here is beyond my wildest dreams. I joked earlier about how I justified getting that, like, relationship with a sponsor, relationship with a man, relationship with a network. You know what y'all fuckers did not tell me? Was, like, I was going to get a relationship with self. Yes. That one was painful. So painful. Continues to be painful. And beautiful in the same respect. And, like, I can't even express the joy I have for that relationship. And I think that's why, I joke with my husband. It's like, I'm not changing my name. Everybody put C on here. Everybody put C on here. That's his last name. That's actually not my last name. I haven't changed it. It's a point of contention. But, for me, it's been so long since I've been able to find out who Allison is. It's been so long. When I got here, I didn't know what kind of music I liked. I didn't know what kind of food I liked. I liked all the food. I didn't know what kind of, like, outfits I liked to wear. I didn't know who I was. You know, and I continued to hide in that marriage because I took on his personality, I took on his traits, I took on his music. Yeah, this is who I am. This is me. I was in like etnies and a Rancid shirt and got all these tattoos, and I mean, I love my tattoos, that's not the point, but it was like, I don't even know who that girl was. It was me trying to find myself in something else yet again. And along the process, like, I have the most amazing sponsors. I've gotten the most amazing sponsors. They're all pit bull women in recovery. They really are. They're no bullshit. They all tell it how it is. And my first sponsor, she was like, listen, she was out of town. She was like, listen, Allison, I don't have time for this back and forth. I love you, but like, I can't hem and haw around the issues. Like, you have to get to the exact nature of some shit for us to get to anything. And it really taught me how to figure that out in myself. Like, self-awareness is huge in this program, but self-awareness without action is just fucking painful. And that's kind of where I've been at. Like, I have, I love the daily meditation for today about, you know, figuring out yourself. And then I was sent a message from my brother about perfectionism. And that's what I struggle with nowadays. Like, I really struggle with being the perfect recovering addict. And like being the perfect employee and being the perfect wife, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. And being all of these things. And when I don't succeed at them, I struggle. You know, one big thing that I have going on right now is like, my husband and I got into it on the way up here about, he's like, you just want to change everything. He's like, can we just stop changing all the things? Like, because it has been, it's been the last 6 months where I'm like, we need a different house and we need a this and we need a that, and I've changed careers. And like, I've been unmanageable clean. Yeah. I know it's shocking that can happen. I know it's really shocking. But, you know, I had to identify what was going on and why that was happening. And the truth of the matter is like, I really am struggling at like a deep core level with infertility and pain. And I see all of my network and my friends self-willing the shit out of their lives. And I'm like, why can't that be me? I have the happy husband. I have the life. I have the house. Why can't I have the baby and the 2.5 things as well? Like, why am I not enough yet again? Why every time I pee on this stick, it's wrong? Why is that not okay? Like, God, what did I do? You know, it's hard for me because it goes back to that like super victim mentality I had when I was clean, or like when I first got clean. I came into the rooms and I was like, my life is so unfair. My dad's died. You know, we've lost everything. My mom is an addict. Like, I'm sick and I just don't want to do this anymore. Like, poor me, poor me, poor me. And my ex-husband straight up told me, he's like, why not you? Like, what makes you so special that you're exempt from this? And I was like, you're an asshole, but you're kind of right. Okay. You know, so I struggle when I get back to that, like, why me mentality. And I feel like I should be more recovered past that. I feel like I should be super grateful for what I have, but like that inside part of me is like, see, Allison, you will never be enough because you can't do the one thing that all these women can do. Don't take the baby, that wasn't directed at you. Okay. Somebody on the speaker tape, whoever listens to it, is going to be like, what is happening? You know, so, and it's hard because it's like, these are people I genuinely love so much, and I feel like I shouldn't have these feelings, but I'm human. So I struggle with it when I go into a meeting and I see the things that I can't do. I struggle with it. And that's why, like, when I feel inadequate today, it's so much different because, like, I internalize that. And I would love to say that I'm, like, a great addict and I'm like, I'm going to work some steps over it. Probably not right this second. But I struggle with the resentment, and then I want to change something outside. Sound familiar? Not at all? No?
Yes.
Nobody? Okay. I got one guy who's like, yeah. But yeah, I struggle with that. And I've done that throughout my entire recovery. Like, it's hard. Mother's Day sucks. Like, Father's Day sucks. And I tried to keep things really in perspective of the time that I had with my family when they were clean. And I try to do that in a loving and kind way. But they're always difficult. And I always seem to want to act out on some character defects when they come up. I do. I am not a perfect human at all. I will avoid the shit out of some people when, like, Mother's Day and Father's Day comes up. Because, like, I did get time with my mom clean. And I'm grateful for that. Like, she saw me get to be clean. She saw me get to be the daughter that you guys taught me I could be. Because I didn't learn how to, like, be a good wife, or be a good daughter, or be a good sister, or be a good fucking human by myself. All of it was stuff that was taught to me here. All of it was stuff that was taught to me through women and men in Narcotics Anonymous who have worked a program and who have lived a better life than they used to. It was all taught to me here. I don't take credit for any of that. I really don't. I'm grateful that you guys did, because I got to step up to be the daughter that, like, I never thought I could be, and I never wanted to be, really. Like, my mom and I were super codependent, so when I got clean, I was like, this is a boundary, and I can't cross it because NA tells me I can't. And I, like, held that NA flag so high. I was like, I'm such a good addict. And what I realized was, like, I was hurting her and hindering me, because, like, I wasn't letting that relationship flourish. And, like, God's funny in the sense that I had to end up being her caregiver. My ex-husband and I moved in with her to take care of her. My mom wasn't old, guys. So I'm in my 20s, early 20s, and I'm having to take care of my 50-year-old mom, who I didn't know what was going to happen, she was the one reservation I had on my step work. She was my one excuse, truly. Like, if she dies, I'm going out with a blaze of glory. And I had to step up to be there for her when she got her transplant. Like, I had to step up to be the person who was going to make sure she took her medicine on time, all the time. I was going to be the one to take her to physical therapy. And, like, my ex-husband allowed me that grace to go somewhere else to take care of her. And, like, he learned that through Narcotics Anonymous. He learned how to be that husband here. He didn't know that shit either. And when we moved, guess what I did? I went to my first NA meeting I could, raised my hand and said, I'm Allison, I'm here. I don't know how long I'm here for. I don't want to get high, and this is what's going on. Please help me. Because that's what y'all taught me. Y'all taught me to raise my hand and ask for help, and I will get it. And that's what I did. The members of Narcotics Anonymous in North Carolina showed up at my mom's hospital room with food. Like, she knew them at this point. She'd be like, oh, hey, like, from her little hospital bed. Like, she didn't know them from Adam. So this is what we do. We show up. My family didn't even show up, but y'all did. And I can't be thankful enough for that. I really can't. And the day that we had to take her off of life support, like, y'all showed up. Y'all held my hand. Y'all showed me how to walk through that with grace. And I can't put that into words. Truly. I really, really can't put that gratitude into words. Because if it was up to me, I'd have gone right back out. And I'm not going to lie, like, the week before we took her off of life support, I looked at my ex-husband. We were sitting in the car, and I was tired, y'all. I was sitting in a hospital room 14 hours a day, tired, continuously, taking care of somebody else. And I looked at him. I was like, I'm done. I am exhausted. I'm done. I just want to get fucked up and not think about this. And the most beautiful words in an NA meeting for relatability are me too. The most terrifying words when you have 2 sick addicts is me too. And he looked at me, he said, you know what? Me too. And I'm so grateful for like the cliche bullshit that we say in these rooms, because it's not bullshit, man. I love our sayings and I don't hear them nearly enough, because all I heard was like, hey, if you want to get high, sleep on it and do it tomorrow. And that's what I told him. I was like, I'm literally too tired to go get high. If we feel like this tomorrow, let's just do it tomorrow. Slept on it, woke up, didn't want to get high. Went back to being her daughter, because what I've learned is like the feelings that I have today are not facts. They're not going to kill me, and I can get through it. But it doesn't mean that they don't suck when I'm going through it. And that was a tough one. Like, that was a real tough one. And I would love to say that that's the only time I've ever felt like that in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. It's not. But that was definitely the scariest. And so, we came back to Charleston, which is where my area is, and I didn't want to get back involved. I didn't want to do it because they were doing it wrong now. They had done it, they like changed it up while I was gone, and now they're doing it wrong. And the thing was like I had so much grief and discontent in me that I couldn't be like a positive member of Narcotics Anonymous. It took me working on me and taking a second to really reflect on what I could like give back or gain to become a member again. And I'm grateful that I did. I'm grateful that I showed up, and I'm grateful that I continue to show up even when I don't want to. And there have been a lot of times in my recovery that I've shown up and I didn't necessarily want to. And I don't want to make that be unattractive to anyone. I just want to be very honest about it. It's like I hear people bitch and complain about area service and H&I and home group service and this and that. And, I have to keep in mind that this is a program of attraction, like one of the awesome cheerleaders yesterday was saying. What attraction are we to Narcotics Anonymous? And I'm grateful that like that areas show up to like help home group members. I'm grateful that home group members show up to keep the door open, because that's so incredibly important. I'm grateful that H&I still goes, because guess what? We have had members that like heard our message in H&I and like they showed back up at the H&I, the institution that they left, to come bring a meeting.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a part of the committee, guys. He just showed up. He was just excited to give back. And so that's beyond anything. Part of my story is the fact that I did go through a divorce in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. And, it sucks to sit in a room with your ex-husband and the multiple women that they've slept with and realize, like, those women are joining your home group. But what I found is, like, I can love anybody. Like, I really can. I can love any woman who wants to help herself. But that doesn't mean I have to, like, go to dinner with them. I don't. Because today I do have boundaries. And what that taught me was like, again, it goes back to getting to the exact nature. I would sit in the rooms in my home group and share how I felt. I never talked badly about him. I never blasted his name. I never talked about them. But I did talk about the fact that, like, this hurts. And it's okay for this to hurt. I'm going to get through it. And unfortunately, like, my now husband met me about a year after that, and I was still in this he likes to say, I was a strong, independent woman, don't need no man phase. But really what it was about was like, I was trying desperately to protect my home, and NA is my home. And I'm going to say this really quick and get off this soapbox, is like, I don't care what brings you to Narcotics Anonymous. I don't care. I don't care if it's a piece of paper to get signed. I don't care if it's the druggy buggy. I don't really care. I don't care why you're coming, if it's for your kids or for whatever, but at some point in time there might be a seed that is planted that shows you that this can be your safe home. And for that, I hope you keep coming back and respect our traditions. And I love you for it. Because nobody told me that I had to leave. And I try to make sure that that's true. Like, I used to go through this, like, big NA purist phase of, like, well, we have to do it this way. And this is the right way. And don't you know? And it was like that fun, like, 3 to 4 years before your head pops out your ass phase. And I didn't realize how many people I hurt in that. I did a lot of wreckage, telling people that they weren't a part of, or, you know, whatever. And that sucks. Because, like, when I got here, there weren't many women. It's a small area. And I was told, you're young. This is, like, my first meeting. Afterwards, we were talking, and they said, well, you're young, so you'll know where to come when you're done. You're female, and there's not a lot of female in NA, so you might want to try out the other fellowship. And the women that do have time are our area split, so they were in the other area, and you're white, they're not going to like you. So, good luck. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever told an addict what not to do. They're pretty resilient and do the opposite, which is why I still kept coming, because I felt at home in that meeting. I felt safe in that meeting, and I didn't give a fuck if you didn't like me. Oh yeah. Like, I really wanted to not feel the way I was feeling, and my sick character defects were like, you know, I'm accountable to these people. Like, I have to show up. So I kept coming whether I was high or not. Because if I didn't come, like, you knew I was getting high, and I couldn't let you down like that. So eventually, I just stayed and was clean the whole time. God, I was a sick ass. You know, and today, like, I show up because I don't know what Allison's going to walk through the doors. I really don't. And some days I am way sicker than I care to admit, and I need that meeting. Like, we just started a women's meeting in our area where it splits, like a men's meeting and a women's meeting. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, because, like, it's women who finally get to feel safe that they wouldn't share in a men's meeting. Because I've seen some, like, women want to share about some character defects, and, like, it's real shit. Like, hey, you know what? I feel this internal void, and so I'm trying to fill it with dick. Yeah. Like, and they share that in a meeting, and I see, yeah. And this is what I see after the meeting. I see, like, either 1 or 2 newcomer men, or the more fucked up part, 1 or 2 old timer men go right up to her and say, let me help you work on that character defect. Yeah. And I'm not okay with that, y'all. I'm not okay with that, because here's the sick reality is, like, when we do that, what message are we carrying? Because and I've always heard, like, oh, you know, when you lay down with a newcomer, you know, that newcomer might not come back, and da-da-da-da-da. That old timer might not come back either. I'm not exempt. I'm not. I'm really not. You know, I am grateful that God found it in His plan to align me with a man who has the same values about steps, traditions, and concepts as I do. I really do. Because, like, I'm kind of known as a bitch in my area, because I don't co-sign a lot of stuff. He can vouch for that. That he can talk about. You know? Because I do. I see a lot of the snickering and the group text messages, and, you know, the this and the that, and the home groups that, like, cut up during the readings and cut up, like, during people giving medallions. And, like, these are the predecessors, y'all. I'm not talking about the newcomers. And I don't know how many times I have heard this after a meeting and be like, yeah, we knew Allison wasn't going to like that. No, I mean, what attraction is that, truly? Like, we're telling newcomers it's okay to, like, dick off during a meeting because this isn't really that important. It's really the food that we're going to get afterwards where we're going to cut down people that we don't like. That's important. And today I don't live like that. Today I don't have to cut you down to make me feel better. Today I have steps and traditions that I can apply to make me feel better. And I try to. I'm not perfect by any means. Ask my sponsor. Or my husband. But I do try to live a way that I would really want to be treated. And like, I learned that here, y'all. Because I would do anything to fit in beforehand. And I would do anything to fit in for the first couple years, too. Like, y'all want to pick fun at somebody? Yeah. Does that make me a part of? Will you like me more? Are you going to accept me? Sweet, I'll do it. It's the same mentality that I have been using. So when I see, like, the defects of character pop up in somebody and I don't like them, it's like shit I need to work on inside. But I'm also not going to stand by and watch women and men that I love and care about. Because anybody who steps in that room, dude, I love you and I care about you, and what can we do to help? I don't got to like you out of here, but I love you and I care about you, and what can we do to help? If I see those people, like, getting hurt, it's really hard for me not to be like the Charleston bitch, and that's okay. I'll live with that today. It's something that I believe in, because I don't want to say that I shouldn't have gotten into the relationship that I did when I got here, because it got me here. Because God's plan is God's plan, and whatever that is whatever that is. And I stand here today in front of you with 10 years clean. And I was an addict that couldn't get an hour clean. And it's through, like, the grace of this program that I can today. Yeah, I feel like I'm rambling now. But I just want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank the amazing committee here, because what y'all do is amazing, and your generosity is beyond anything that I can explain. Y'all are some of the nicest people I've ever met. And I got to see a bear and Germany in one weekend. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So if nobody told you today that they love you, I love you. I'm grateful you're here, and please stay. So, thanks.